Bitcoin just crashed. Jerome Powell came on the microphone and just crapped all over everybody. Inflation is coming in hotter than expected, month over month, year over year. The stats do not look good, but there's opportunity to be made in crypto. We're identifying some winners. We're in a winning trade right now. It just opened right before the stream. I can't wait to tell you all this news. Let's discover crypto.
Ow.
Capital flight is coming to the United States. The dollar is going to zero.
And that's what makes Bitcoin so special.
You have to have gone through a couple cycles to understand.
Once the price is able to clear this level, the breakout is on its way.
This is your indication to jump in now.
It is a very, very tumultuous period in crypto right now. I say we're in a winning trade. We're going to show that momentarily. I want to look at the bubbles, though. Let's look at some banter bubbles. Josh, I don't know if you have that ready. What is green? What is red? I know there's a lot of movement in the markets right now. So do you have that? All right. Whoa, there's a lot of red bubbles.
It's a sea of red today, actually. And we have to sail through it. As you see, ENA here, just sailing through all the red today. That is really the only top mover today. When you see things like FDUSD, being in the green while the rest of the markets are down, you're obviously seeing profits being taken. And this is, of course, coming after the CPI report today, which, chat, who would have thought, hard landing was expected to be. But the CPI came out at 3.5%. So we're going to be diving into what that means, for the markets today. I'm getting too excited.
It's the Celsius.
It's definitely the Celsius. It's the bubbles here. Wow,
it's the banter.
And bubbles. It's the crypto bubbles. No, but good morning to everybody in the chat here. It's good to see everybody. We're going to be talking about projects both that we're looking for. We are farming airdrops. We're getting excited for Rune's protocol. DZ, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling good. I just opened this trade right before we went live. We're over $100 in profit, so it looks good. I saw a local bottom. I'll go ahead and just kind of tell you what I was thinking here. I saw a local bottom, and you can see this is a very, very strong point of control. We bounced right off that area right here, and right there. And I just saw, a little opportunity. If we just draw the line right there, felt like an opportunity. I see some bouncing. I see some strong support. We're going to go ahead and move that stop loss into profit. Just keep the streak alive, everybody. We like keeping the streak alive of green trades. All right, let's go into CoinGecko, just kind of look at what the market is moving. And then after that, we're going to talk about inflation. Wall Street Journal just put out a really, really good article kind of covering everything. This is breaking news. This is just very, very fresh numbers. Bitcoin is down 1.9%. But I feel like the markets are starting to digest some of this data, and they see a little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel. We're going to talk about that as well. We are up 1.2% in the past hour. But if we look at just the 24-hour, not moving too much to the upside except for Toncoin and BNB, some strong contenders here in the top 10. Cardano just bleeding left and right. It is down to 5.8%. Tried to do a pretty good thread on it yesterday. I thought I'd be able to lift up Cardano's price, but I guess that wasn't enough. Bitcoin Cash is down 11%, though. That thing was moving like no other. It is up 41% in the last 30 days here. Polkadot is also taken quite a bloodbath. It is down 6.5%. Let's get some good news. Let's see, is there something good? I saw Athena was looking good. Athena is actually my dog's name. Spelled differently. Spelled A-T-H instead of E-T-H. But yeah, every time I think Athena, I'm just thinking, oh yeah, my husky mix there. No, CKB is beating it. Nervos Network is up 111% just in the past week. Nick, do you have any thoughts on Nervos?
No.
Yeah, nor do I. This one kind of just came up out of nowhere. It is ranked 76 right now. It is up 100%. So it's kind of broken into, it breaks in and out of the top 100 right now. It looks like it might be solidifying its position here. We got Danny Bird. Bird is the word. $10 super chat. Good morning, fellas. How is your morning? What are we stacking up on today? I may have bought a little DGen play. I'll share it towards the end of the show.
Yeah, I have to say, I think we should start really quick with what we've talked about the last few days on this price action. I mean, it is touching the levels that we were talking about, the support here at the 68,800 range. That is turning into that massive support range. And I want to say, we do need to hit that 350 likes on this stream. You guys know the drill. But we are going to be dropping picks that we will be picking up, because I personally, at least, am going to be picking up today. And that's because what we're looking at with the liquidations. Dude, look at this. Sea of red, negative 12 billion. This is incredibly bullish to me. And then when we go to our heat map, check how much is popping up above us today. It is so bright with the colors and vibrant around that $73,000, $74,000, $75,000 range. this is actually looking incredibly bullish, and it does look like we might turn that 68,800 we were talking about into support.
Yeah, this is a daily chart I pulled up. I drew these lines a couple weeks ago, I want to suppose. And I said, after we test the bottom, we're probably going to do a little bit of a breakup to the upside, but I predict we'll come back down and test and then break up again. These are daily candles. So we don't want to close too many candles below this top blue line that is descending here. We want to try to break up above that. What we want to see here is, we kind of test the bottom, a fake out breakout, and then, hey, just get bearish. And as everyone gets bearish, that's when we do one final retest and then up into the upside. I'm gonna keep this line on there, and we'll track that over the coming days here. So very, very interesting stuff in the charts. But there are some big losers that make Bitcoin's losses just look like a walk in the park. Aptos is down nearly 12%, Bitcoin Cash down 11%, and Whiff is whiffing. It is down 10%. It was flat for the week, but this past day's action has basically put it into the red. Wormhole is down, Gala is down, Near Protocol. Josh, good call on getting exiting some AI positions. Near's kind of fallen since the NVIDIA conference. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's just people don't want to admit it when you're in the trend, but all trends lead to an end. And that's kind of like, doesn't mean that I'm bearish on AI, doesn't mean I'm bearish on artificial intelligence or metaverses or anything that falls into the deep in category. All it means is it's going to shift everybody's focus to a new shiny object. What's going to be the next biggest event? What's going to be the next biggest trend? And so that's where I was like, it was a little overhyped. You saw people renting Lamborghinis, revving their engines, trying to buy their new Chat GPT copy and pasta product. It tends to tell you, you're probably near the top of a little bit of a trend cycle. And so that's why I was like, hey, GTC Summit, what's after that? Right? Yeah. You really don't have another major event for another year till the next GTC. So it was more of this is a buy the rumor, sell the news. Let's find the next trend. Let's take these profits, which ended up being amazing. And then we started moving that into DEXs, Bitcoin DeFi, and other products we like, or other projects we like.
Yeah, and moving them into projects that we like and getting out of projects that, taking profit on some important things. We actually have a video here. I believe we have sound. Nick, are we good? I could go ahead and hit refresh just real quick. This is me telling my financial advisor that I outperformed his lifetime portfolio by investing in various dog-themed coins. This is from Better Call Saul. It's 15 seconds. This sums up crypto market today perfectly. Your neighbor's son coming in, he bought some Solana meme coin, and you've been in Bitcoin for 5 years, and he's beating your gains. This is how you end up feeling.
What a joke. I worked my ass off to get where I am. And you take these shortcuts and you think suddenly you're my peer?
We have sound.
I committed my life to this. You don't slide into it like a cheap pair of slippers and then reap all the rewards.
Like a cheap pair of slippers.
That's exactly how you feel. Great show, by the way. And speaking of great shows, I watched a great movie last night. I was telling you know what I watched last night? With the fiance who has never seen it. Let me know how you feel about this. She had never seen Shawshank Redemption.
What?
We watched Shawshank Redemption for the first time. She had never seen
Josh
it before.
Has never seen it.
Yeah, I haven't.
You haven't seen it? You should definitely watch it. It is #1 movie on a lot of lists. And so she pulled up a list and she's like, I haven't seen Shawshank. It's on top of this list. I was like, I know what we're doing tomorrow night.
I just watched the series Taco put me on that blew my mind. It was like, what, 3 Body Mind or something?
Oh, yeah. 3 Body Problem.
Holy
pretty good.
That definitely made me rethink a lot of things.
I'm reading the book. I've watched the series. Pretty good. All right, now we just got CPI data, everybody. You're talking about trends. Well, there is a trend that is shifting, and is the disinflation trend might be shifting into inflation. And I got a good analysis by Caleb Franzen I'm going to share after this. And folks, don't worry. We're still going to tell you that hot coin that I just aped in this morning, the thing is looking juicy already. I'm already up 20%. It's the same person who gave me Arrow. It's the same person who gave me not LFG, another big winner. I'm trying to think of what it was. Math. It gave me math. All right, now let's talk about inflation. So inflation came in a little bit hotter than expected. I think we all know this. We all feel this. We all see this when we go to the grocery store. And so when we see these Fed numbers, most of the time it just feels like lies. Now it looks like the lies are getting exposed.
Well, and hold up there, DZ. It's not fair for you to put that on the Fed, because if you discount food, gas, and all the essentials and needs
rent
to live and survive,
energy and shelter.
It's not that bad. It's not that bad. They're doing a good job.
You take out energy, you take out shelter, you take out food. I don't know what's left, but you take out those 3 things. I don't feel that bad.
You still got air.
Yeah,
air hasn't inflated.
Air hasn't inflated. Fidget spinners get cheaper year every year. Just like TVs. I don't know if it's
My God.
It's incredible. There's literally a nonstop bounty that we're just not grateful for.
Yes,
We're
I
not
totally
grateful.
agree. I totally agree. There's so many things that are just so cheap. A National Geographic used issues. Those are going down. There's so many things that you do see disinflation.
Which is why
more
today's
grateful.
video is brought to you by Vitality Air, air in a bottle. Yeah, you guys can now breathe this in. So make sure you guys pick these up before the world ends, and you just put it against your mouth.
Are these
You
like
inhale.
gamers farts?
Banff Air Twin Pack.
They're all sold out.
They're all sold out. Yeah. What can you buy air from Alaska?
Apparently not.
Didn't think so. Did not think so.
Man.
That's so lame. I
Yeah,
just
that
typed in air in a can, and that's actually
It's
a thing.
kind of not a terrible idea. It's Alaska Air.
Yeah, it's like-
it's a gag gift for people who miss home. Not a gag.
It's like
gift,
the
but-
guy that does water tasting. He's like,
I love
"Here's
that
water."
guy.
Yeah.
The water sommelier.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. That's funny. Well,
right.
anyways,
Yeah, I want some water reviews now. All right, well, let's review inflation, which is flowing like water. Report raises question about how much the Fed will be able to cut interest rates this year. Folks, the prediction markets have now basically rolled back some outlooks here where we're no longer expecting rate cuts in July. But the CPI, it's a measure of goods and services prices across the economy, rose 3.5% in March from a year earlier. This is a year-over-year trend, and it is up higher than it was last month. So last month, year-over-year, we're up 3.2%. We want 2%. That is what Jerome Powell's aiming for. And what we end up doing, we ended up rising to 3.5% from 3.2. But if you exclude, kind of what we were joking about earlier, if you exclude food and energy, then it got even worse. It is up 3.8%.
That's the shocker. That's why everyone is freaking out this.
Yeah, because we all know that they game the food statistics. We've seen it. I mean, you start looking at eggs are up, milk is up, all these things are up, and then you're like, well, how the heck did you get 3%? Because eggs are up 8%, meat is up 12%. It's like, oh well, we count Fig Newtons as 60%, and you're like, I don't know if that makes sense, but they got 3.5%.
Well, remember 2 weeks ago we were talking about how I think it was actually Larry Summers,
oh God,
Ian's favorite guy, Cancel This Closing Company, said that the actual inflation, if you use the metric that they had in the 80s, we're at like 20% or something like that.
Yeah. So they've changed the manner in which they measure inflation, is what Ian.
It's Fugazi.
Yeah, I just with everything Larry Summers says, take it with the biggest grain of salt. It's like this is the guy responsible for 2008 financial crisis.
See,
He's
I think
best
he
friends
actually
with like Henry Kissinger. It's like,
he's also the newest board member of OpenAI. Did you guys know that?
Yeah,
not a problem.
Why? The question's why is he on the board of OpenAI? Which is what Ian covers all the time.
Well,
with Cancel
him and
Clothing Company.
Altman are, they're going to tell us how to live. All right, recent data showing inflation running higher than expected in January and February, an unwelcome break from months of encouraging reports that showed a market decline in the pace of price increases. Still, the Fed officials haven't reacted as strongly to those readings as they might have, describing them as, hey, it's just a bump in the road on the way to their 2% inflation target, and it doesn't derail plans to cut interest rates this year. This is going to put extra focus on the CPI reading here. We scroll down here. This is wages and prices change from a year earlier. So the earnings is this dark purple line. We're seeing basically earnings, once you adjust, it is down. We are not really keeping up with inflation. I think most of you watching at home, you feel that. And that's why you're investing in crypto. That's where you're trying to find the escape hatch. And that's why we're trying to provide you the tools to have financial freedom. If that sounds good to you, make sure you're following us. Make sure you hit the like button on this video. All right, so Caleb Franzen, I just kind of want to jump to his analysis here. He had a really, really good breakdown. So this is his conclusion. He went into the whole, the weeds. He covers all the aspects there. He talks about food inflation, talks about apparel inflation. This is what we're talking about. They take out, they'll find some metric where they take out energy, they take out food, they take out shelter. And then they'll say, yeah, well, North Face jackets are only up 0.4%. And then you see like, well, why is apparel such a large percentage of this data? And it's because they'll fugazi the numbers to try to make it sound better than it really is. So apparel inflation, oh, okay, that's only up 0.4%.
Now, is this an issue of the Bureau, or is this an issue of just the system where they are incentivized? They're like, hey, go find us good data. And they just don't report
the Bureau
the
is
bad
ran
data.
by the system. So, I mean, it's a cop-out answer,
Or
but
is the Bureau
it's both.
the system?
I mean, it's both. It's two heads of the same snake here. It's
That's
it's
a great
all
way to put it.
essentially the same thing. Non-durable goods inflation also a little bit lower than energy, a little bit lower than food. Durable goods coming in a little bit lower. Medical care services inflation up 2%. But let's just scroll down to his breakdown here. Here's Caleb's conclusion. We love Caleb, his breakdowns. This is the first data, in his opinion, that reflects a win for team inflation, aka, well, he says reinflation. He's been saying, guys, disinflation is what's been happening, but now it looks like inflation is going to rear its ugly head. Now, team inflation, they've been wrong for 20 months. They've been proven correct today. It looks like the momentum of disinflation is now dissipated like a silent fart, and that the inflationary trend might be shifting. It's only 1 month of data, but certain data points like X shelter have been reaccelerating for several months. So we have some of these data points have been showing that inflation is going to occur. And now we kind of got a culmination where it looks like, oh no, inflation is back and it could get ugly. Inflation long-term is good for Bitcoin. Rate cuts are also going to be good for Bitcoin. We're seeing a little bit of dueling narratives right now. Looks like maybe we won't get a rate cut, which is bad for Bitcoin, but it looks like inflation is just looking terrible, which is good for inflation. And that's why we're seeing a lot of uncertainty in the markets right now. He said it once and he'll say it again. It's okay to be wrong, but it isn't okay to stay wrong. So he is pivoting. So he vehemently criticized inflation data because that team refused to acknowledge disinflationary data. But if he refuses and does the same thing, it means he's acknowledging his mistakes, or, he's going to accept that he was recently wrong. That's what proper analysts do. They change their minds when the facts and data change. He's going to sit on this and wait for them before he formally updates his outlook. But yeah, it looks like inflation is back. What are you guys' thoughts here?
Yeah, I pulled up a chart for people that are new to crypto that maybe are hearing about rate cuts but don't know what it looks like historically. So this is an old chart. This is going to be when the Feds pivot. So you see 10 U.S. Fed rate cuts in 2007, 2008, 13 Fed rate cuts in 2003, 2000 to 2003. Whenever there's a big crisis in America, the Feds are traditionally reducing the interest rates in the market. So you'll notice that with the Fed's rate here, down 51%. We saw the stock market in 2000, when they pivoted, they started cutting interest rates. The stock market crashed 51%. In 2008, when the Feds pivoted again, the stock market crashed 58%. Now we're leading up to, for the first time, obviously 2020, there was the market correction. This is a little bit older of a chart here, but it brings to the question I want to ask the community out there is, do you believe we're going to get a recession? And if so, is that in 2024, 2025, or 2026? That's the question everybody needs, because historically, we know if they're going to, pivot and actually start changing the interest rates, which I don't think is going to happen until, Q4, the latter half of this year anyways. That means we still have months of upside because, again, you don't see downward action in that market until the Feds pivot. And when the Feds pivot, traditionally, it's because something breaks. So it's like you're just going up and up and up and up, and then nobody expects it, and then it just crashes.
Yeah. So once it starts to decline, it's not we'll just do a couple points. It's like it falls off a cliff, essentially. Something really bad is happening, and we got to cut really harder than we need to, probably.
Yeah.
But hey, that's good in the short term. We're just kicking the can down the road here. Here's some interesting data points when you talk about what is your wage growth doing compared to inflation. So while everyone's worried about this inflation, the real issue is the 8% per annum, or just think yearly debasement of currency on top of inflation. Your hurdle rate, your rate in which you have to grow your net worth to break even is around 12%, which is the 10-year average returns for the S&P 500, just to keep your purchasing power. But it gets worse. This Deaton for Senate, I like the name. It's even worse. If you're 100% of the stock market for 10 years, remember, you're just breaking even. You're just breaking even if you're in the stock market there. But you kept pace with inflation, you broke even, right? But if you sold anything, the IRS will claim you had massive profits and then take 15, 20%, even potentially higher, 30% if you're a high net worth individual. So you're struggling. You're fighting to keep in pace with inflation, and you got some gains from it. And those gains just cover inflation. But Johnny Taxman's going to come in and say, oh, no, I need a cut of that. And then where do you end up? You end up losing. You end up behind inflation. And so that's why we're looking for these escape hatches to escape the system here. I said this, the market's no longer pricing in the Fed rate cuts in July. And I said, remember in the beginning of the show, I said, there's a little light at the end of the tunnel. I'm going to explain it here. The market now thinks the Fed will start cutting rates in September and will only do 0.25% rate cuts this year, 25 bips, according to the CME watch tool. So this is the probability markets. This is people are putting their money where their mouth is. This could be a good thing. If we do get those early cuts, if we do get those cuts in July, now the market no longer expects it. So yesterday, the market expected it. We get a rate cut. The market's like, yeah, it's what I expect to happen. Nothing really cool. If we get in July now, is going to be fireworks for Bitcoin. We might see a $5,000 daily candle, potentially even a $10,000 daily candle. So it's going to be very, very closely watched data in July. We got JJ with the $5 super chat. Hello, chat and friends. I believe the halving will cause the price of Bitcoin to crash, so the big players can control 59%. Nick, you know more about mining than probably than certainly most people in the space here. Well, what are your thoughts about the mining hash rate getting controlled? Is there any worries in your mind about F2 Pool has too much and they can team up with Foundry? The next thing you know, there's a cartel running Bitcoin.
Running Bitcoin. I mean,
they could choose a fork if they choose. Here's what retail will think. Here's what the FUDsters will think. What if they make more than 21 million? And let's not get into the game theory of how that's a dumb idea.
Yeah.
Can they potentially, turn it into 22 million if they wanted?
No.
It's I think it's a common, almost like mythology with people that like try to preach that narrative, because my thoughts are Bitcoin is the cure to fractional banking. Yeah. It's not the alternative.
Some people, all right, we got to back up. We're freaks. We're degens. Some people don't even know what fractional reserve banking means.
Oh yeah.
What does fractional reserve banking mean for those who don't know?
It's a floating term almost at this point, but fractional banking is where, let's say DZ's the bank and I have $100. I'm going to take that $100. I'm going to give it to DZ, and DZ as a bank is allowed to take that money and not hold it for you. He can go loan it out.
Spend your money?
You can spend it as many times as you want, actually, almost indefinitely. He can take that $100, go loan it out, and then go take, I think it's $80, it's $90 and $80, and then he can keep loaning and loaning and loaning and loaning and loaning. Myself, the individual that has the $100, I can't do that. I'm not my own bank. I'm not allowed to do any, I can't do any of that. It's illegal for me to do it. But the bank can take my $100 and go fractionalize that and just do whatever he wants.
You're telling me the banks can spend your money. They don't even have to custody your assets.
They don't have to custody it. They don't have to have it. In COVID-19, they reduced it to zero. So they don't have to hold any of it in their bank actually for you. So Bitcoin, that's called a double spending issue. They're going to continuously just take that money and go spend it. The Federal Reserve is going to continuously print money because they keep spending too much money. And you see the issue here, right? If you have unlimited spending, you have a what? You have unlimited money printing. Those are two things that should not exist together. There's going to be no budgets. There's going to be no deficits, the whole nine. So what Bitcoin does is it solves that. You can't double spend it. If I send DZ a Bitcoin, he has that Bitcoin and it's on chain. It's tracked. It's accountable. It's transparent. You can't get rid of that. So now let's go back to the other conversation though. We're getting to like very basic stick and stones of Bitcoin and banking. What I'm saying is people try to say that Bitcoin is the answer and is the why we need to remove banks. Mm-hmm. And for the last decade, they've preached, we're anti-banks, F the banks. I want to be self-sovereign. I want to hold my own crypto. I want to be full accountable. And at the same exact time, they were inviting BlackRock and
Larry Fink, water's warm.
Yeah, come join us. Come swim in here. So that's the moment where we lost all hope from a libertarian perspective. This is now Wall Street 2.0. The banks have entered, and they're going to control that because it is a cure to their fractional issues that they have today. They're going to be able to create new products like the Bitcoin spot ETF. They're going to make billions of dollars off that, if not trillions over the next few decades. Miners are going to make money off every single transaction. You'll notice that asset managers like BlackRock, check this out. If you guys go on Yahoo Finance, this is almost scary. It's not because everybody kind of knows it now. But if you go to Yahoo Finance and we just type in, let's do Marathon, the largest Bitcoin, one of the largest Bitcoin miners in the world.
MARA, yeah.
And we scroll down, if you can show the screen here, we scroll down to holders on the left side. You'll notice Vanguard, BlackRock, State Street. It is always the largest asset managers behind everything. All the infrastructure. If you go to Coinbase, the largest exchange, right?
I'm not going to see BlackRock as a holder of this.
No way. There's no way BlackRock would. Oh, it's Vanguard, BlackRock, State Street.
Oh, man.
And so when Vanguard says...
do these have voting power? Like, do they still...
7%?
But do they have voting power?
They have voting power. So they hold... shout out to ARK Investments here with their 4%. But between Vanguard, BlackRock, and pretty much the other asset managers, they have anywhere from 10 to 15% on anything they hold. Which means they have massive leeway. Massive leeway. So we don't need to get into what that means, because that's a whole nother conversation. But the reality is crypto is Wall Street 2.0. So the theory that miners are going to somehow turn over and start printing this endless amount of money, no, it's the cure and the solution to their current issues in fractional banking. And they're just going to profit off that. They're going to launch us Bitcoin spot ETFs. They're going to give retail what they want because they're a wolf in sheep's clothing. They're going to say, no, come buy our product. We're all for Bitcoin.
You know, if you look at empires and you look at what big banks, and I'm not trying to go too much into tinfoil hat territory here, but there's large financial institutions that do not care who the empire of the day is. I say empire of the day a little loosely. They typically last around a century. There's big institutions that, you know, they were happy loaning money to countries in Europe 120 years ago. And then they didn't really mind that those countries defaulted and then had, you know, big issues because they got to rebuild it. And then they just go to superpower of de jour. Different superpower. BlackRock does not care if America declines. They do not care. If anything, there's elements within BlackRock that want the dollar to break so they can just have to print more and more money, meaning on paper, they start looking like billionaires, trillionaires, multimillionaires. So there's dark forces at play here that just really do not care about their country of origin.
Go ahead, Nick.
I was just going to make a joke.
Go for it.
Dark Forces is one of the best Star Wars video games of all time.
Dark Forces.
I haven't played it yet.
Dark Force is a very good persuasion tool. I can get into that. It puts the idea in the person's mind of what it means. Dark is a great persuasion word.
And that is so perfect because that's what I'm talking about with crypto. Because what is the one thing crypto has that banks don't?
Sovereignty, freedom.
Freedom, trust is what I was going to go
trustlessness.
It's trustlessness. It's supposed to be trustlessness.
Yeah.
What happened to trustlessness? That doesn't exist anymore.
We stopped walking around with 6-shooters at our hip and meeting people at high noon.
Yeah, nobody cares. And so now the banks are coming like, everybody trusts crypto. Just realize you don't trust the banks, you trust crypto, but the banks own all the...
Remember when we like tar and feather people? I'm not saying we should do that again, but remember I think
we should have a public shaming like square in Manhattan. Yes, and if you do something horrendous, like these people on my screen right now, like Larry Summers and his best friend here, Larry Summers and his best friend. I think we should just put them in the middle.
You're saying go
of
full
Manhattan.
Queen Cersei.
Like they're in the, what do you call that thing where they're just like sitting there? The stockades. Yeah, they're in the stockades. People can throw tomatoes at them. They can pee on them. Yeah, whatever it is. Not in a good way, but I want them embarrassed. I want them. That would stop crime. I'm just saying.
Is R. Kelly in the crowd?
Look. I'm just
Larry Summers. That was Alan Dershowitz too, wasn't it?
Oh, old Dershowitz, that intellectual. All right, well, let's get back into some Bitcoin news here. First, a little aside. How much money do you need to be a 1%er? Well, in Monaco, $13 million.
Smokes.
Switzerland, 8.5. United States, 5.8 million. A lot of that is the boomer generation just sitting on their homes and some, 401k. Singapore, 5.2. Scroll down to the bottom. You'd be a 1%er in China, $1.1 million. Japan, about twice that. UK, a little bit lower than I was expecting. UK, it's only 3.1 million. I thought UK had a little bit more money there. I guess joining Euro, maybe they had some issues. All right, let's talk about Bitcoin here. Bitcoin buckles below 69K. Where are we at right now? What is Bitcoin doing at this exact moment? Let's go ahead and pull this up. Let's get off the 1 day. Let's go. Oh man, I gotta sign in. Where's my 25 minute? Where's my 24 minute? I'm just gonna click 15 like a normie.
Ew, gross.
Gross. Ew.
That's nasty.
Ew.
Get off that chart, dude.
Looks like we're
Yucky.
Oh god, I still got the drawing on there. Looks like the last 30 minutes, the last two 15-minute candles, looks like maybe a little bit of a reversal. That means probably not quite as much profit on that long. We're actually up a little. It was 111. Now it's 119.
You probably entered a perfect long there because what people don't, the real reason why Bitcoin fell too, I don't even think it's because of CPI. I think it's because of the CME gap, which if you show on the screen here, we have completely filled now. So again, this goes back to, we weren't even focusing on the CME gap in yesterday's show because we were using platforms like Signals. DZ was already looking at support and resistance levels at that 68,000. But that's what the wick down here. If you remember yesterday's stream, I said we can get a flash wick down to 67,000 to this minor support zone as your market makers just wipe positions out. That position is, of course, the CME gap. So, dude, honestly, I think shout out to your trade. You're going to be buying steak dinners for us this weekend.
All right. And I'm on a 10X, which is a little bit more risky than I normally do, but it's Bitcoin.
Spicy.
So I don't mind going a little bit riskier on Bitcoin. I'm not going to like 10X balls or Doge or something like that, you know. Hey, shout out to the Dutchman in Vietnam. Always glad. Hey, we love our international audience here. All right, Bitcoin buckles below 69K, closing that gap that Josh was talking about as crypto bulls endure $175 million in liquidations there. Bitcoin Ether dropped 4%. Sol and Doge lost 6-7% in the last 24 hours. And we're seeing the longs are just getting wrecked right there. Hopefully DZ isn't mentioned in tomorrow's article. We'll see. But you know what? No, we're already in profit, right? Yeah, we moved the take profit, the stop loss into profit. So no, we're guaranteed a profitable trade. But yeah, that's why you got to just be careful if you are going to be trading. We do have a Blofin link below. Let's turn these trades green. Don't be greedy. Don't do 50x. Like, it's meant to gain you more Bitcoin, not less. So that's just a lesson for the day right there.
We do have a great question coming from Ezekiel, just asking what CME gaps are. So I pulled it up for you. You're going to hear about this all the time. So fantastic question. CME gaps are the differences in prices between the closing price on a given trading day and the opening price on the following trading day on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. So what does this mean? Let me go back to this chart for you. This is trading days on traditional markets. So it's Monday through Friday. So,
and real quick, CME is like the NASDAQ of large commodity contracts. God, let me dumb it down. If you want to trade pork bellies and gold, go to the NASDAQ of commodities, which is CME.
Yes. So perfect example. So what happens though is this is what happens on weekends. So if let's say Bitcoin closes at this is $67,000. This is what happened here just last week. Bitcoin closed at $67,000 on Friday. But of course, Monday, it opened up here because you got to count 1, 2, 3 days. It opened up, or actually, no, not 1, 2, 3 days. It's the next candle. So let me delete that because I just ruined this. There you go. So this green candlestick right here, that's Friday. This new green candlestick is Monday, which means over the weekend, retailers pushed the price of Bitcoin from $67,000 like $70,000.
Josh, George from Cryptos R Us has a very important question for you regarding gaps.
What about these thigh gaps? Those should be a new meme coin because I will buy those thigh gaps.
George, I believe you're in Paris. If it can fit a baguette, it is. Never mind. Anyways, all right.
A croissant.
George, what are you doing to me?
A croissant.
Shout out to Kulo too. Kulo crushed it yesterday. I'm wondering how Kulo did today.
So between those thighs is that Kulo.
Oh, Kulo is reversed. Kulo is now down 12%. Look at that candle. Some whale just said, I am out of here. But yeah, Kulo, I'd be surprised. That looks pretty strong support right there. I'd be surprised
wonder what
if
that looks
doesn't
like on
bounce.
Dex Screener.
Oh, that is strong support. All right, that's something to watch. There's it likes the decimal point.
It's been doing some
squats.
The
one.
So what you're saying is Kulo did some squats, finding some good support.
If it falls below 4 zeros and a 1, it could get a little bloody. But it looks like the 4 zeros and a 1 is pretty strong support. I don't know if we erase a 0 or not because that'd be a 2x from here. But not looking super terrible right there. All right,
let's get some W George in the chat. We're all George.
We're all George.
Actually, we're all George in chat here.
That was
back to the
once.
Yeah. So just really quick to close off the CME issue. It's if Bitcoin's price closes at $68,000 on a Friday and retail pushes it up to $70K through the weekend on Monday, and it opens at $70,000. There's a gap of 2,000 from that weekend that's created, and 95%, guys, of the time that gap gets filled by the markets. So if you see that gap open up after a weekend, you will more than likely come down and fill that gap.
And let me talk about real bearish CME gap. Sometimes we get a really, really crazy CME gap to the downside. You could do different levels, and it's like CME gap at $45,000, and you're like, it's 70. There's no way it goes to 45. There have been times in the past, nobody thought it was going to close the gap. Oh, it's $19,000 to the downside. There's no way it can do that in 2 weeks. And then it falls $19,000 to the day, to the hour, to the minute candle. And then you say, well, why? Why are people so bearish on this awesome asset? I know how good Bitcoin is. You know how good Bitcoin is. But what about retail? This number is going to scare you. Many retail investors see Bitcoin crashing below $20,000, according to Deutsche Bank's survey here. Retail is pretty bearish. And so even though, hey, we fell below 69K, it's the high from 2021, and respondents are bearish on the price, with some saying, oh, we're going to slip below 20K again. They interviewed or surveyed 3,600 consumers, and the majority are split on the staying power, with over a third, almost 40%, are expecting Bitcoin to drop by 20K in 2024. They're not talking about bear market lows 2 years from now, 2.5 years from now. They're saying sometime in the next 7.5 months. Wow, 7.5 months, we're going to fall below 20K. That seems a little bit low. Only 10% expected 75K. So we got almost 40% as bearish as you can be, and only 1 out of 10 are bullish. Not looking great right there. The most striking result is more people believe it would stick around to those who said it would disappear. 40% are saying, hey, it's going to continue. 38% expect it to go away soon. Bitcoin's going to disappear, y'all. 38% said so.
I think it's only fair we ask chat here. Chat, are we going to go to 100K? Type 1 if we're going to go to 100K first. Type 2 if we're going to go to 20K first.
I feel like 100K is before 20.
Well, do we go back to 20? I mean, do people not understand where we're at now between marginal costs, adoption, institutionalized, ETFs, like the largest products to ever exist in our financial markets? Like, these are blowing expectations out of the water. What else do you need? Like, do you need Biden to download 2 physical copies and rubbing against himself during a speech? I don't know, man. Like, what's it going to take?
Objectively, real reality, objectively. Good name. They're bitter and jealous for not getting in under 20K. Hit that like button if you got some Bitcoin at some point under 20K. I know when we dipped to 16.5 or 15.9, I did not buy nearly enough. I was pretty bearish. But we need some hopium, and then there's some stuff on chain that is going to give us that hopium that we so desperately need. I need to inject it in my veins like some ice cold medication from the WEF. BitLab Academy. Kelly, what do you have for us that's on chain that the people are not ready for?
I have got an absolute flurry of incredible bullish charts here. And I want to shout out first a comment that somebody put in the live chat, when I was waiting before we came on, from Chantos 2K. He said, shaking out the weak hands, dumb money. And I think this is so pivotal to understand. And the reason why we're looking at on-chain today, on the day of the CPI read, really marks the main key difference between Bitcoin, which is on a blockchain, and the monetary policy. Bitcoin, we can see everything that's happening. If you are a fish, you can see exactly how to swim with the whale. So if you're ready, I'll dive into it and show you exactly what I'm seeing.
Let's dive. And after this, I'm going to talk some ETF news too. So what are the inflows, outflows? I don't know what you have for us, but share the alpha.
I've got it all here. So I'm going to show you why this is coming into the most bullish part of the cycle, not even considering the halving. So let's dive in. And first things first, looking right here at this chart, I just want to remind people, this is a market cycle trading cheat sheet. Remind us, we're somewhere in this region here. And I just want to point out on this chart that I shared April 2022, okay, that this bottoming pattern, when we push up, break down, and continue to the upside, this pushes up to this 1.618. And wouldn't you know, if you look at where we're at right here, this breakdown into the bottoming pattern, look at where we are hovering right now, right at the 1.618. It's as if the markets do predictable things if you know what data to look at. So what does the data say?
Kelly, I saw something magical in that previous chart. Could you share that back? Maybe something for tomorrow, maybe something for your stream after this. I think that parallel channel that we're seeing that is slightly moving up and to the right side, the chart after that, we see a little bit of a slight parallel channel. I think if you slide the whole channel up where the bottom is to where the top is, we might have more correlation where we're at now.
Are you talking about down here or up in here?
So the vertical, so it's that way. The whole channel, if you move the whole channel up, you're going to end up, maybe correlating to where we're at today.
That could be true, but I'd have to do that later. I've got a bunch of charts I'd like to get through because you guys give me limited time.
Well, let's see. All right.
All right, so here we go. This is the story of the on-chain nature of where we're at right now. This time is different. Bitcoin rocket getting ready to rock. Downside, remember, this is a key part. Downside is part of the stair step to the upside. This is what we're seeing right here. This little beautiful line here, as Julio Moreno says, demand has become more important than supply issuance. Yeah, we all want demand, but is it really truly more important right now? Well, Bitcoin demand is growing at an unprecedented pace. Here, I estimate demand with the growth in total balance of accumulation addresses. So basically, we're seeing a huge increase of demand, and this is before that new supply gets cut in half. This is why I'm so bullish. Now we look here at the total whale holdings and percent monthly change. We can see Bitcoin demand growth seems to be a major driver of higher prices. Of course, post-halving, but also right now. In the past cycles, Bitcoin demand growth from large holders, whales, violet area has spiked, fueling the price rally. So we're going to see a bit of, we're getting a front running now because of all these ETFs, but we're also about to have the new supply issuance cut in half. And I honestly only see demand going up on aggregate throughout this halving and post-halving because of all these new capital flows coming in. We see it from Hong Kong. We see Japan with new Bitcoin standards. We're seeing an increase in the ability to have capital flows into Bitcoin. Now, with this, we're talking about whales. The only cohort still furiously buying Bitcoin right now are the largest whales. This is what I was talking about. Do what the big money does. Read what they're saying. Read what they're doing, not listen to what they're saying. This is showing those large players are buying right now. In addition to this, I just want to remind people on the on-chain data here with the short-term holders, short-term holder cost basis, this is an incredible metric, and this gets tested regularly on the way up in bull market. So we still have a huge sort of landing pad down here, support zone, all the way down to 58K. So what we're doing right now is just a little bit of consolidation. Now, you talked about ETFs. This is the story of the ETF flows, when we're having huge ETF flows and when we're getting sort of net sell-off. And we can also see this up here in the actual data, but this is a more important chart. We can see that we're getting a little sell-side pressure right now with a little bit of this whipsaw price action, but we're at levels that we can't even fathom coming into this halving. Now, is it driving the price action? Well, this is from HODL 15 Capital, and we can see this is a Bitcoin price. These are these positive flows getting very strong, a lot of buying pressure. Price action moved to the upside. On these little dips, we're also getting sell-off in the price action. So we're going to want to pay attention to this. This isn't the only name of the game because we are seeing a huge amount of spot buying in the market. We have to pay attention to the capital flow in general. We're seeing, even with these sell-offs, even with the further dip, we're still on aggregate a very positive, we all talk about money flow on charts when we're trading. This is that on-chain data showing this huge positive money flow. We can draw a correlation between this and what we saw back here in this cycle. And you can see this came back and touched, barely dipped below this negative line. We still have plenty of room before we even do that. So let's not be worried about, these small dips. Even if we got a 20% dip from here, for me, it's all net buying. Now, this goes back to that story of the CPI. We still have a huge impact on the market, this risk on, risk off nature due to what's going on with the global liquidity. And we are still seeing a little bit of reduction in global liquidity. But remember, Bitcoin will trade alongside this for some period of time, but there will be a moment when Bitcoin breaks away from what the rest of the economy is doing because this is a hedge. This is a different asset. Now, when we ask about how much higher we can go, this is that reserve risk chart. Look at how low we are still here, showing that the asymmetric opportunity is more reward than risk here. The risk is going to come down to, do you capitulate with small little pullbacks or are you buying? And we can see as a whole, the market is still showing negative outflows from the exchanges. This means people are still moving off of exchange, preparing to hold, not moving onto exchange, preparing to buy. Now, when we get last couple things I want to share is the available supply. I just want to point out, having
running
three
out
from this point.
We're running out, man.
Yeah, but the winds shifted in the last halving where we're getting less available supply on aggregate, and that new supply is about to be cut in half further. So things are looking very bullish. This is that gap that you're talking about. And yes, we still have a gap below us. We did not close this gap from last week, March 22nd. So we could really come down and fill this gap all the way to 64, and it would still all be within that very bullish context. Now, these are the levels I'm watching. We're still within this thing, but remember, we very well could trade sideways, much like this chart right here. This is the last thing I'm showing. The total 3, all these altcoins, and this is going to be the same story for Bitcoin. See this little choppy zone right here? Everybody wants this just to go up, up, and away, but this very reasonably, Bitcoin as well, could be chopping sideways before we get that launch off. So the point here is, if we get sideways chop, if we get a dip, we are looking for buying opportunities right now, unless you're trading on a 5-minute chart with a very small percentage of your portfolio and trading that volatility. The majority of our direction in this market should be looking for buying opportunities, because things are looking more bullish than they ever have on the macro. So let's not get drowned by the micro.
Well, thank you, Academy Daddy, dude. Thank you for joining us today. Dude, always with the on. I love it, dude. So much value coming out of that. I want to ask chat, what are the projects you're most bullish on, and what are you picking up today? Because I'm pulling up some charts of your favorite altcoins and covering these, but we just got some very, very bullish confirmations on some of that potential upside here over the coming days. So as you guys know, we were looking at this major yellow line. I keep it very simple. I like finger painting like a 5-year-old essentially in kindergarten. What I'm looking at here is this yellow line. This yellow line is going to act as major support and resistance. Price likes to hover around this range. So this is $68,800, which we've been talking about this entire time. I zoomed in and I've been just digging into the kind of exact data points I want to find, because when you go into a smaller time frame with more and more numbers, you're going to have more and more support levels. But what we're looking at here is we got that pullback, we filled that CME gap, and we came right back up to this range. And if you notice, what's popped up above us now? We do have 2 strong magnets, which are, again, these yellow lines, guys, at $70,450 and $71,000 that have been officially created above us. And I just found these here today. So when I'm looking at those liquidations, right, we're looking at, now a -11, -$15 billion delta spread. All you guys need to know that is watching, simply buy when there is blood in the streets. Sell when there's, everybody's.
I got my trade open on Blofin. What was that first magnet that you're pointing at? I might go ahead and move my take profit to that area, then minus a couple hundred bucks.
70,450.
70,450. So you know what? I'm actually going to come in around just a scam wick above 70,000. And so that's where I'm looking to take my profit. The stop loss is firmly in profit, and we started it here. So if we were to, it's about a $400 or $500 trade if we can hit that take profit. So we'll be watching that one. Now, he brought up the ETF inflows, outflows. We got some data on that as well. Grayscale finally has some good news, because you can see here, they shed roughly 300,000 Bitcoin since the ETF launch. How much was that? Let's see, just one day was 228 million or 223 million. The outflows total, Jesus Lord, that is $15 billion in outflows from Grayscale.
Wow.
But we might be seeing an equilibrium. We might finally be running out. That's the numbers. Kelly already kind of pulled that up, so I'll skip it. The Grayscale CEO, he says the ETF outflows might be finally coming to an end. This is going to be very, very bullish. So it might be reaching a little equilibrium here. We're going to play this, I suppose.
Yeah, I think it's like 30 seconds at 150.
In the world, and you run the biggest fund, GBTC, but you've seen massive outflows in recent months, perhaps up to $15 billion worth. Is this all down to the fact that the biggest fund manager in the world, BlackRock, have got involved in your space?
Well, I think it comes down to a couple of things, and ultimately investors having choice. When I think back to how GBTC came to market as a spot Bitcoin ETF, it was the largest fund in the world for Bitcoin, had a 10-year track record, and had a very diverse shareholder base with $28 billion. Unfortunately, we knew coming into this and anticipated that there would be some outflows. GBTC is the collateral that was inside some of the bankruptcy estates around the crypto ecosystem. So actually some of those liquidations had not only been forced, but actually on a positive note have helped to repay creditors. Well,
he brings up a good point there. The exchanges, a lot of them went down. 2022, 2023. If this is your first cycle, you're a new viewer, hey, how are you doing? I'm DZ. That's Josh. We got Nick in the corner. Make sure you go ahead and follow. We bring you live content Monday through Friday, same time every day. We bring you videos 7 days a week. But 2022, 2023, for those who weren't here, was a scary time. We had exchanges going down. We had stable coins going down. We had polycules in the Bahamas. It was just dirty, nasty,
We were
gross.
seeing people's faces for the first time as they were taking off their masks.
Yeah, it was
gross.
It was like a horror movie. And a lot of these large institutions with billions of dollars in assets, they had a lot of this grayscale Bitcoin trusts, and then they've been forced to sell it. And now a lot of those failures from 22 and 23, that selling pressure is finally being exhausted as the FTX estate becomes whole. Celsius and others, finally start wrapping up their proceedings. If we can stop the grayscale bleed, we could stop the grayscale ETF outflows. It looks like it's really just going to be net buying pressure. And then we might see some of these God candles that we had seen before where Bitcoin can go up $10,000 in 1 or 2 days. And that's when your neighbor's going to call you like, hey, is it a scam? Are you up? Are you down? What's the next Bitcoin? And then what do we say when they say, what's the next Bitcoin? I usually say there is no next Bitcoin.
There is no next Bitcoin.
There is no second best.
There is no second best.
Yeah.
No,
there is no second best.
What's the next?
that?
Yeah, there is no next Bitcoin.
Find that clip.
There's not. Is there gonna? What's the next gold? Bitcoin.
On gold, I've said this before. I think it bears repeating. We got a lot of new viewers. Gold was the standard of transactions for 5,000 years. It's the hardest money ever known. It was what everybody used. Mankind had agreed upon gold. 5,000 years gold was used. And right now, we're in the next precipice. We're in the next precipice where gold is being replaced by digital gold, aka Bitcoin. And no one knows what's going to happen 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 years from now. No one knows what's going to happen 50 years from now. But if civilization can continue to exist for the next 5,000 years, I think Bitcoin will be the next gold. And so we're in the precipice of the largest wealth transfer in mankind's history. And you're born. You're here now. You're alive.
Amen.
And you're hitting that like button.
Amen.
And it's a life-changing opportunity for a lot of people.
Into a sermon.
The Wednesday service, y'all.
Wednesday service.
I need a what is it, like a silk kerchief?
I need a fan.
You need to come in with what did the priest wear?
A collar?
No, yeah. Well, no, what's it specifically called?
Frock?
Maybe.
I don't know. You're the sheltered child. You're supposed to.
Hey, I was a Baptist. We wore young and we weren't allowed to wear shorts.
So you didn't have like magic. You didn't have the magic undergarments.
No,
like they wear in Utah.
No, just full onesies.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's talk back into Bitcoin here. Embracing Bitcoin as the core asset of its treasury helped lift a publicly listed Japanese company. Their stock surged 89% after they said, hey, you know what? We're going to embrace some Bitcoin here. Let's see here on Meta Planet Incorporated, publicly listed Japanese consulting and investment firm. They announced in a decision, embrace Bitcoin as the core treasury asset of the company going forward by committing an initial Japanese yen 1 billion yen there. The company says that by allocating its initial investment of this 1 billion yen, roughly 6.5 million to Bitcoin, it is not merely adjusting its strategy, but it's redefining its role in a future where finance and innovations converge. Now, does this happen in 2024? Wall Street, companies in the S&P 500 start adding Bitcoin in a major way. We all thought it was going to happen Q1 2021. Jesus Christ. We all thought it was going to happen 3.5 years ago.
Well, technically, it did start happening. And then whether or not...
2 companies.
Yeah.
Tesla, MicroStrategy. And then it's like third domino. No, nothing.
Well, yeah, because what happened was like Tesla was like, oh, wait, ESG, BlackRock, we gotta pump the brakes on this, and then they all made fun of Marathon or MicroStrategy, like this is the dumbest person ever. Yeah, now he's looking very, very smart.
Yeah, he's looking cool in his black button-up T-shirt. You know what I mean? I'm not saying he got his style from me, but
Did you? I don't know if you skipped over this with Zero Hedges. Costco is selling up to $200 million in gold bars per month.
Yeah,
now.
I got it right here. Costco selling up to 2. Look at this. So we're in the wealth transfer. Boomers, Costco shop holders. They're buying some gold. They're cashing in that executive rewards bonus. They're buying some gold. A lot of them are going to, and what does Costco do? I believe they sell out every single time. I think more and more people every day, there's a gold bug converting to Bitcoin.
There's no way that they're selling bars of gold.
But guess what you can get for 20
ounces online.
Yeah. Guess what you get for $2,501.50.
It's like $15,000 for a bar of gold.
Yeah, not real bars. Not the brick bars. Okay. Not the Anunnaki bars. No, these are like just little 1 ounce bar. It really should be called a coin almost. If it's maybe it is 4 ounce.
So scroll down a little bit. I don't know if you see the tweet underneath it.
Wow.
When shopping at Costco, this is what $2,500 plus $1.50 will get you. Inflation bites.
Ouch. Really hurts there.
Is that Costco meme coin going to go to $1.50?
That's what I'm
I don't
thinking,
think it
dude.
can. I remember when I first looked at the market cap, I was like,
Hang
oh,
on.
it's like Bitcoin size. I don't know. I'm sure there's some people who think it will.
Easy. You can actually go on Costco's website. Just Google Costco gold bar, and they have them. They are available.
Oh wow, they're available right now. So it's
24
1
karat
ounce
gold. They come It's a 1 ounce gold bar from PAMP. Well, that brings up some.
Okay,
trauma.
so one transaction per membership, but you can get like all your family members, and you get like an order of 5. Not eligible for price adjustments here.
These are actually great. Swiss 1 ounce fine gold. This is a very fungible form of gold. Just so everyone knows, coins are the least fungible form of gold. Outside of like a full ingot, which this technically is not a. It's not a bar. This is, I forget what this is.
Oh, you got to sign in to see the price. I do have a Costco membership, but you know, I don't know.
Log in.
I'm not gonna, log in.
now.
All right. Here's my email. Here's my password.
Social security number.
Yeah. All right.
Say
So
it first on
yeah,
stream.
What's
your
chat,
social?
Do you guys hold precious metals? Do you hold any precious metals?
Yes,
I do.
Okay.
Yes. I have physical gold. I will not buy paper gold.
Okay. Yeah. Same. I have physical. I have physical silver coins, and I spent 1 ETH on a gold bracelet that Crypto Face hooked me up with back in 2021 Q4. So I basically sold the top of ETH, turned it into gold. So feel pretty good about that.
1 ounce
I'll
is
regret it in 5 years, but right now I feel good about it.
1 ounce is definitely over $2,000. It's like
$2,500.
$2,500 now. Yeah, it's up there. Gold's at all-time highs. Crimson here with Web3 homies. Metalcore started closed beta today. Go sign up for chance to receive.
All right.
Yeah. By the way, guys,
CC,
go
all right,
follow Caravan Company because Crimson is hosting the Web3 games now. Correct?
Yes, he's on. He does the Discover or Hit Network Gaming. Yeah,
Yeah. Gaming's starting to ramp up. If you guys want to learn how to play Web3 games and make money, go follow.
You know
Crimson
what?
Caravan.
That's going to bring me to some breaking news. There's a project that I've talked about in the past. It's cornucopias. It's actually here. It's cornucopias. It's not cornucopias. So cornucopias. They just did a big announcement, and the Cardano community is pissed. But I'm actually bullish on this. Let me scroll down to I can see. Here they retweeted someone 2 hours ago. What base projects are you excited about right now? That is right. Our mission to stay on the cutting edge of tech applies to every area. And look at that. We're confident we've become a major player in the base ecosystem. Kopi is now moving to base. I think they're still supporting Cardano. Cardano community, there's some large maxis out there. They're not quite happy about it. But I think it's bullish for the cornucopias ecosystem. Nick, what's your take on, you got a, Cardano project's been in the weeds with Cardanos for years, and all of a sudden they kind of, make a pivot.
This is a clear message to two specific narratives. Number one, base is legit, and there's going to be massive development on it. So don't fade base. Look for a base token, number one, but don't fade any base projects. Number two, this is a clear message to Cardano that they need to fix their messaging. Cardano is obviously one of the strongest, if not the strongest, proof of stake blockchains out there. But they've got to fix their messaging right now. What are they doing? Are they trying to bring Africa out of poverty, or are they trying to be in the gaming token, or are they trying to be the meme token? Pick a lane or two, but pick one.
Yeah, the problem, I don't want to say the problem. What Cardano's ideals today is like, well, were the ideals that Bitcoin was 10 years ago? And the problem with that narrative is, well, Bitcoin ideals 10 years ago is kind of a lot, right? It's kind of like, well, decentralization, on-chain governance, power of the people, take power from the banks. And it's just a lot of messages to kind of wrap your head around when you have ETH and, ultrasound money. You have Google a blockchain. You have these real pithy one-sentence phrases. Cardano, it needs that pithy one phrase, it just needs that good, just do it. It needs like a Nike style marketing tag. This I found pretty funny here. This is just kind of speaking of Bitcoin, the crackdown from the government here. Imagine this. Why, yes, I would love to trade my spices for your goods, for we both have journeyed far and toiled hard. However, we must first, of course, complete these AML KYC forms for our politicians, for surely commerce cannot work without them. It is for our own protection. That kind of just sums up politicians' attack on crypto right now. Richard, Tricky Dick's in the news. Richard Hart claimed the SEC lawsuit infringes on his free speech. Anytime someone battles the SEC and fights for free speech, I'm typically on their side. So this is just an interesting story. I'm rooting for Richard.
Hart, you're a scammer. You're a scammer. I have free speech. You're a scammer.
Okay, yeah, he's got stronger. You know what?
Yes.
I rode Hex to. Actually, I never got into Hex. I rode Pulse to 0 though. If you guys are ever in Toronto, you got to visit Smack's, best smash burger in the city. We do love a good smash burger. I like a good smash burger. You guys fans?
I love smash burgers.
Smash burgers are great.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's see here. Jameson Lopp. All right, this little politics. I want to get in some altcoin news here. All right, this one is kind of talking about really the next generation of altcoin buyers. Generation Z, 1/5 of young Americans invest in crypto, with Gen Z shunning traditional assets. Is this going to be bad for stock market? Will this continue? Will they turn 30, 40, 50 and then say, oh, no, I'm buying S&P 500 mutual funds? I think some, but I think some are just going to be degens till the day they die.
Yeah, I think they're going to be looking for exactly the next thing, which is going to be which cryptocurrency sectors are thriving and may help your portfolio. So they're going to be looking for the next thing to give them the highest returns. Lately, that's been AI and big data. That was liquid staking. You had a little bit of a DeFi, bubble or boost here. So what is the next trend? What is the next sector in crypto that's going to have the highest returns? That's what I want to jump into right now, guys. So make sure you smash that like button. Let us know your favorite cryptos in the chat. What are you watching for right now?
So we had
what's the next narrative?
AI has popped, and then DePIN kind of popped, behind that. Gaming popped a couple months before AI, so maybe 6 months ago at this point. So some might say, AI is going to be due for a reemergence. I know you're really big on Bitcoin DeFi. Do you think Bitcoin DeFi is going to be the next trend?
Bitcoin DeFi, I think, is going to be one of the next trends. Yes.
Bitcoin meme coins?
Yeah, so Bitcoin, specifically Bitcoin meme coins. Because Rune's protocol, for you guys that don't know, Rune's protocol launches 3 things happening on the Bitcoin halving, which is super bullish for Bitcoin's entire ecosystem. Bitcoin halving, the Nakamoto upgrade from Stacks, which is the largest layer 2 on Bitcoin, and then Rune's protocol, which is going to bring meme coins and NFTs to Bitcoin for the first time in an efficient, fast way. And that is obviously speculation because it hasn't launched yet. But we're all assuming it's going to have a smooth launch, and there's a lot of anticipation around that. So I think the DeFi, meme coins, that infrastructure is going to be huge on Bitcoin. The other trend, though, is going to be what I have pulled up here, RWAs, real-world assets. Now, people think this might have already started, but if you go to rwa.xyz, you can go to U.S. Treasuries and see in real time the projects that are obviously doing the most amount of volume. There's $1.1 billion in this right now in these tokenized treasuries. This was 1 billion as of like 2 days ago. So it's growing massively. Of course, you'll see the top one is FOB. That's Franklin Templeton. Then you have Biddle, which is BlackRock, going to pass them shortly. And OUSG is number 4. That is going to be none other than Ondo Finance. Now, they're the leaders in the crypto sector for the top RWA projects, but I do believe RWAs are going to see over $100 billion in these tokenized treasuries within a year to 2. Could be sooner, could be faster, but I believe as we start getting to that higher, level, once you see 25 billion, once you see 30 billion, it's going to spark a massive narrative, and we're starting to see that already take place in the RWA.
Now, if it gets a lot of attention, will Bitcoin become too congested, or do you think? Because you remember at the peak ordinal craze, I think transactions started hitting ETH gas fees, 20, 40. Peak in Bitcoin Mint, $100 gas transaction fees, not gas. Will the meme coin season still thrive with $50 Bitcoin transactions, $30 Bitcoin transactions?
So Rune's essentially going to make that cost go way down for how they're. I'm not going to go into the technicals on the stream, but essentially it's supposed to make it faster.
So we shouldn't see a reemergence of what we saw with ordinals.
No, if we do, you will be extremely happy because that means the amount of volume and network congestion that's taking place there and adoption, our bags will be pumped to the moon. So I would love to see that.
Josh starts drooling when he talks about runes. All right.
Dude, I'm drooling. I'm telling you guys, it's like DeSci. I haven't been this confident on anything since decentralized science. And we've already seen LFG's up like 10x already from this. We're going to get airdrops off that. Already Swap's absolutely crushing it. Called that at 6 cents. So they're starting to move.
I posted about math. Math is up 74% right now. Looks like it has cooled down a little bit. It hit 80 cents. Right now it's all the way down to 52 cents. Oh, wow. This thing is going to be deep in the red say 8 hours from now, this might be a little bit of a buying opportunity if it continues to dip. Just wanted to share that. Yeah, where I have a post that I did. It's just kind of crushing lately here. Unfortunately, not everybody jumped in with me. I could tell. I'm tweeting a lot. I'm tweeting a whole lot. LFG, going nuts. Math, going nuts. I tweeted about this 8:54 a.m. And then you can see right there, 8:54. So it's going to be 6, 8. Yeah, we had a nice pump from that yesterday. So yeah, we've been getting a lot of wins lately. But you talked about things being used a lot of congestion. What about Solana? I know we have a lot of Solana holders right now. Solana devs target April 15th to fix Solana's transaction issues. Where's this going to go? The CEO of Helios Labs, it's a big protocol on Solana. The implementation bug that they're talking about that's going to be happening in 5 days is responsible for the sharp rise. I'm sorry, the fix is going to be in 5 days. Responsible for the rise and failed transactions on Solana. Clarified that the problem is not a design flaw, because it's an implementation bug. It's a bug, not a design flaw. Is there a difference in software? I would say yeah.
Yes.
I think it's a fair assessment.
It's a fair assessment, but at the end of the day, it comes down to the marketing.
We have someone with the Runestone question for you.
We have 2 Pump Crypto Chump. Love the name, brother. With the $9 super chat. Appreciate you, homie. Josh, if I recently bought a runestone on Magic Eden and hold it in my Xverse wallet, will I qualify for the airdrop? So yes. By the way, guys, if you didn't know, you can load up your Xverse wallet with just Bitcoin, and then you can go purchase these runestones on Magic Eden. Now, these are worth 0.08 Bitcoin. So they're roughly $5,500 to $6,000 now. We've been talking about these for a few weeks. I faded them, didn't hop in, but they're airdropping the first ever meme coin on top of Bitcoin. That's why I'm bullish on this. You guys know I don't like meme coins. I don't trade them, but I love investing into the infrastructure. This is like the infrastructure of going to a casino. The meme coins are the slot machine.
Yep.
And most people are going to go into the casino and play the slot machine. I'm the person that goes in the casino and looks at who created that slot machine so I can buy the stock in that company, because I know it's going to continuously go up, right? It's addicting. It's going to continuously just come, more and more people are going to come back. That's how I look at these meme coins. And the fact that Bitcoin is 3 times larger than Ethereum, the ecosystem that is there that is potentially up for grabs is $500 billion. The fact that there is no meme coin on top of Bitcoin, that's a top 3 contender. I'm talking Dogecoin, Pepe, or Shiba. It's crazy to me. And I do think we're going to see the first meme coin kind of break past that on Bitcoin.
My thesis is there's Bitcoin maxis. They will never touch Solana. They will never touch Ethereum. They will never touch Cardano. But they will never touch Doge, but they will touch these Bitcoin meme coins, I think. I think there's some
100%.
number of I'm talking about OG Bitcoin whales. They got 10,000 Bitcoin. They will never trade it for anything. It's the hardest money ever. They're going to be like, you know what they do? They'll buy an ordinal every now and then. They'll buy a rune every now and then. I think they'll buy these meme coins too. I think we end it with this. You kind of brought up just where things are heading, how things keep rising. Well, look at U.S. rent versus income. The orange line is rent. And income is the blue line, just kind of falling in the early 90s, stagnant. We got a little bit of a housing crash, and then we got a tech boom. So we see income starting to rise. All right, we're about halfway there. Let's go forward a little bit, okay? And then the housing bubble. I remember this period. I remember everybody was just a millionaire overnight. People buying 3 homes in a year, flipping it and flipping it and flipping it, and then all of a sudden they have a $700,000 house that they can't afford. Boom. And then that led to the great financial crisis. You can see it right there. But what did rent do? Rent just kept going up and kept going up. And meanwhile, income just looking flat. Scroll out to the end there. Little bit of a correction. We've seen about a 20% fall in home prices. But income's just not keeping up. But it does keep up, everybody? Bitcoin. Bitcoin keeps up. Bitcoin is hard money. Sorry, ETH. ETH is also pretty good. It's deflationary. But that's what we got.
Let me answer this question right here for the Stack meme coins. It's a fantastic question. What do you think of Stack's meme coin? So if a meme coin's building on Stacks, that's great. That's a big move, but it's Rune's protocol specifically. That's separate than Stacks. You're going to see a lot of development, DeFi dexes that are built on Stacks that integrate Runestone. Who you want to follow on Twitter is Leonidas. This guy is getting thousands and thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of views on posts. This is the guy launching that first meme coin. Way more engagement, way bigger community, way more money.
And he seems to be winning the attention game. I think the Bitcoin, whether it's ordinal, whether it's runes, I think everyone's going to kind of gravitate to the same protocol or the same code 12 months from now. I'm betting on Leonidas.
You can pull up the cute dog for the outro.
All right.
Pull up the cute dog.
That's all we got.
There you go, guys.
Dog coming soon.